Well. Late last night, the 1.06 update ended up going live here in Modern Warfare, and alongside the various changes that it ended up bringing to the game, which we'll be discussing today, this update also added in a ton of brand new game files to the PC version of the game, and those immediately got data mined and leaked for the world to know. And those files were in reference to nearly 40 maps that we'll presumably see released in the coming days, weeks, and months. So today, ladies and gentlemen, we are breaking down all the new leaks that came via the 1.06 update, alongside all the changes the update brought as well. But before we jump into that, if you are new here, each and every day I am covering the latest news and intel within the world of Call of Duty. So if you do want to stay up to date with all of that, feel free to subscribe with your notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when a new video goes live. And of course, if you enjoy this one, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. And now let's get into the brand new 1.06 update and check out everything that it brought to Modern Warfare. So first and foremost, let's jump right into the leaked files that surfaced after this update went live, and then we'll get into when we can expect to see this content actually released, and also the various changes, including adjustments to tanks, footsteps, and claymores a bit later on. Now, with these new game files, unlike some of the leaks that we talked about recently, these are literally coming straight from the game. Infinity Ward went out of their way to put these map files into the game, so more than likely everything we see here today will end up coming to the game further on down the road. The leak initially claims that there are 38 unreleased maps found in the PC files. However, as you guys will see, some of the maps are actually already in the game, well, at least one is in specific, and others aren't going to be used in public multiplayer. So that number is knocked down a bit, but nonetheless, 30-some maps is still a pretty wild number for DLC. So the first 5 maps we end up seeing are all for gunfight specifically, and they're called Cage, Cargo, Hook, Shoot House, and Exclusion Zone, all of which we actually covered in our leaks video from the other day when we were talking about what the Gaming Revolution had said over on Twitter, so it appears he was actually correct there. Cage, Hook, Shoot House, and Exclusion Zone are all presumably brand new maps. However, Cargo is actually going to be a Shipment remake apparently, so that should be pretty fun to play on. Then getting into the 6v6 and 10v10 maps, here is where we end up seeing the bulk of the leaks, as we end up getting 29 maps here. But I should mention some of these include day and night variants, and one we actually already have in the game, as I mentioned earlier. Anyways, these maps consist of Anai Attack, Crash, Dam, Krovnik Farmland, Gulag, Hospital, Layover, Lowline, Lumber, Malyshev, Millbase, Oasis, Port, Prison, Ravine, Shipment, Shipment Night, Slums, Stadium, Subbase, Super, Urzikstan, Torres, Transit, TV Station, Farida, Rust, Takedown, and also Borderline. So obviously that is quite the extensive list, enough to make me run out of breath, that I know for sure. Anyways, one map in specific, that being Gulag, is obviously already in the game as a 2v2 gunfight map, so we can essentially cross that one off the list as already being in the game. There are also 3 separate files referencing Shipment alone here in 6v6 and 10v10, that being Shipment itself, and then Shipment Day and also Shipment Night. So we can really just count that as one map in general, which also lowers the overall number there. We also see some classic maps like Subbase from MW2 and Rust, which is also from MW2, and Crash, which was from COD 4. I also think TV Station sounds awfully similar to Broadcast, and Layover could very well be a brand new name for Terminal as well, so just a few of my thoughts there. But the leaked maps do not stop there, as we actually see that we have a map called Smetna Farms, which is going to be a Ground War specific map. This was actually another map that was leaked by the Gaming Revolution prior to the game even ever going live, so it appears he was also correct there. Then we also end up seeing 2 maps under the category of Other, called Gun Course and also Marksman Range. However, those are both apparently for the Trials mode, so those aren't really super important either. So between the Trials maps, Gulag, and the Shipment variants taking the overall total down, we end up with roughly 33 maps that we currently do not have in the game. Usually we're used to seeing anywhere between 10 and maybe 15 maps added into a Call of Duty game after it launches, and clearly that number is far greater. So when exactly are these maps going to be added in? I'm sure that's a question you all have in mind now. And while we don't have any official confirmation on when the DLC season will kick off, the Infinity Ward devs said new content will be coming to the game on a very frequent basis, And with 33 maps already in the game files right now, even if we break that down to a select few maps releasing with each of the 5 individual seasons that we already know of, that comes down to roughly 6 or so maps releasing every 56 to 70 days, if I had to guess, based off of the DLC patterns that we've seen in recent years. Which ultimately means we are going to have way more map variety in this game than ever before. Now, keep in mind that release schedule is just me theorizing. We could also very well see these maps staggered to release in, say, bi-weekly intervals. We're honestly just not sure as of right now, but regardless, this is very good news for the DLC season in general. Now, aside from these maps leaking, the 1.06 update also brought with it a handful of changes to the game as well, and some of them are definitely much needed. According to the patch notes, the 1.06 title update brings more fixes to prevent crashing and improve stability across all platforms, and this fix in and of itself should be very good news to Xbox players in specific, as I know there has been a lot of crashing issues over there, so hopefully you will notice some changes now with this update live. This update has also removed the battle chatter from the tactical one life modes like search and destroy for instance, meaning in those single life modes, you will not hear an enemy call out contact or enemies in the area when your player spots another player or vice versa when another player spots you. The battle chatter though is still in the regular respawn modes, so be wary, your character will still announce their presence like they're a Pokemon when entering a room and spotting an enemy. Moving on though, APCs and tanks are now no longer going to reward points towards a nuke, and thank goodness for this fix. I cannot count how many times I've been taken out by someone on the mountain on Karst River Quarry using a tank attempting to go for a nuke, so I am definitely glad that that's been fixed. The 1.06 update also adds a fix for weapon charms affecting any given weapon's performance when firing from the hip. So for anyone wanting to use a weapon charm like the dog one that I see you guys are really liking in my comments, you guys now are able to do so without hurting your hip fire accuracy. Infinity Ward also ended up adjusting the claymores a bit, as stun grenades can now force claymores to be disabled for 3 seconds. So while it's not the perfect fix in my mind, you can now slightly counter claymores with the stun grenades, so I might be adding that to my classes here shortly. Footsteps have also been adjusted to tame the third-person sounds in specific, and they'll now filter out based more on occlusion. They ended up fixing an issue with the tac insurgents spawning you outside of the map's boundaries in this update too, and then they also implemented a fix for the gold camo not properly unlocking on the 357 pistol. Then, to round out this update, there was also a minor playlist update as well, which added in the NVG playlist, which features the night versions of various maps, and that playlist is going to be Team Deathmatch only. And Kill Confirmed was also added into the rotation too, so now we have NVG, Ground War, Gunfight, Kill Confirmed, and Free For All to choose from for game mode specific playlists. Also, Kill Confirmed in theory should be a little less campy than some of the other modes, since you do need to go out and collect tags, so perhaps that'll speed up the pace of play overall. But the update news still doesn't stop there. Joe Seacott, who is the co-design director for multiplayer at Infinity Ward, also tweeted some of the plans for some future updates coming to the game too. He tweeted this morning saying, "Excited to get footstep tuning in live along with these other changes. More updates in the works are as follows. More restricted player callout logic, prevent enemies from hearing callouts in all modes, challenge system fixes, weapon tuning, and spawn updates." So here we can expect the battle chatter to eventually be completely removed from an enemy's point of view, so they won't hear you call out at all in any modes whatsoever. The daily mission and camo challenges should be receiving some tracking fixes. We'll see new buffs and nerfs come into play. If I had to guess, the M4 and the 725 are probably going to get nerfed, and the spawn system should improve too, so all around very good news. Now, with all of that being said, that is effectively everything that changed with the 1.06 title update, and all the new DLC maps that were leaked via the in-game files. Be sure to let me know down in the comments below which of those maps in specific you are the most excited for, or if there is a different map you want to see make a return instead. If you guys enjoyed the video, let me know by dropping a like rating on it, as it would be much appreciated. And of course, if you are new here and you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of Call of Duty, including all the latest news and intel, updates and leaks, and everything else in between, feel free to subscribe with your post notifications turned on. That way you'll always know when I post a new video. As always, be sure to use code IMMORTAL on all G Fuel, Control Freak, and Respawn products. All of those links can be found down in the description below, and once again, thanks so much for tuning in. Until next time, take it easy, have an awesome rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.